The champ is here, the champ is here. I crossed the line onto the other side of fear. Yeah, I'm shining bright, my inner guided light is ultraviolet, could cause blinded sight. Behind the mic, I am like Iron Mike from the free throw line, flying Mike like a private flight. My head above the clouds. If you ain't Bob Grove, you would say I dumped it down.
I said he did it on. I said, is that him? He's like, yeah, hell yeah. I'm like, no, they supposed to introduce you, my nigga. Like, he just jumping. That should be hilarious. I like hearing that on podcasts. Like the guests be like in the background. They were like, nah. I know they be like, no. That's my fault for not doing pre-production. But all right, here we go. All right, check. Y'all tuned in to another episode of Leading Be Legendary presents the LABL Podcast, which can be heard on all your favorite platforms such as Apple Podcasts. Sometimes I have it on SoundCloud. You got Spotify, though. Spotify, which is a new platform for podcasts now. Obviously, you know, Spotify been around for a minute because of the streaming with the music. However, they have podcasts now. Make sure you check us out there. Radio Public. Where else? Anchor FM, which we are distributing this podcast. Make sure you rate and review if you're on Apple Podcasts. I've been thinking about, I'm not even going to say thinking about, but I'm going to start releasing episodes. I'm going to try to stick to this and release episodes bi-weekly on Wednesdays. Y'all hold me to that. So I got to come with content. The website, www.leadingbelegendary.net. Also, my website, solo, Nametag Alexander.com. We're real quick promotion. The Work, Win, Repeat single is available now at my website as well, Nametag Alexander.com. It will actually be available on all the other platforms come June 3rd. I just wanted to test it out and try it on my website first. So if you want to hear it today, you want to download it today, make sure you go to the website, Nametagalexander.com. Now, we have another special recurring guest, which is what's funny because, fuck it, we're going to get into it. Dean Garcia, Art.Dealer.Dean, we got to say it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the first ever neo-soul pastor on this episode. You did it to yourself. That was the first.
Man.
Say what up to the people, man.
What up, dude? What's going on, y'all?
You're not that excited.
I am excited.
You're not that excited. I've never heard you say what up, though, ever in knowing you, in the existence of knowing them, ever heard you say, like, what up, though, with that much excitement.
Well, I've been drinking instead of smoking today, and so it's a different feel.
It's a holiday.
It's a different feel.
It's a holiday.
Yeah.
I feel you.
What's going on?
Art.Dealer.Dean, the mover, the shaker behind Humble Fly, man. Give him an update of what's going on with you, man.
Oh, man, everything is going well, man. We just wrapped up the Urban Podcast Month live podcast. First ever silent podcast at Charles H. Wright.
Yep.
Shout out to the Connected Experience and Shop Talk Podcast for inviting me to be one of the presenting partners on behalf of Humble Fly Studios. And shout out to everybody who made that shit excellent, man. Especially City Hop for coming through with the silent headphones. That shit looks real sweet, man.
I just posted the video on, I had, snapped some videos off the phone. I put it online. I was just saying what was so dope about, one of the things, because there was a lot that was dope about it. But one of the things that was dope was just being there and other people that was at other events at the museum, like whatever they was there for, but they was walking past and they looking like, okay, I hear people talking, but I can't hear them enough to understand what's going on. But they see everybody rocking their headphones, so they kept stopping. Like this was like at the beginning of the show, and then obviously, I think I was sitting up at like the top step, and a lot of people kept walking past. Like, well, what is this? Like, what is going on?
No, absolutely.
And it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit was just dope. Like just wondering, like, well, what is this? Like this is one of the first ever silent party podcast events.
It was super dope, man. So for everybody who missed it, right? Walk Fashion Show, which is in like its 10th year, I think, was on the premises at the same time as a ballroom class that's been going on at the Charles H. Wright for years. And so the silent headphones really came in handy because it was just noise everywhere. It was noise outside, it definitely was noise inside. And so for us to be able to have that intimate feel in the middle of a whole bunch of chaos going on and still have a quality experience, I think that says a lot about the silent technology, but also about the vision that people like, AJ and SJ Jackson over at the Connected Experience have, along with EJ Johnson and Shop Talk Podcast and Shop Talk Studios. So, You know, I think it's something that we should. I'm looking forward to doing it again. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely, man.
For sure, man.
I'm shocked did anybody ever do they listening party like that in the city?
Well, actually, remember, I don't know if you had a chance to do the Jay Jackson, not Jay Jackson, the Jay Prince, book listening last year. But we all went over to Collective Studios and did the silent listening to a couple of chapters from the audiobook, and he did a question and answer session. And so that silent technology is really one of those things that's really changing the way that people interact with your content.
Definitely was an experience because I felt like it was like everybody was interacting with each other, but it wasn't like one of the events where, you know, you go to some of these rap shows, man, and people be performing and it's like nobody's really engaged. Like everybody just talking to each other. Yeah. They got their phones out, taking selfies and everything. Which, it's like, but that was going on here. But it's like you still was engaged in the conversation. You know, like everybody was participating.
Everybody was participating. You know, I'm not even gonna lie. I was multitasking, but I was also.
Oh, we was in that bitch multitasking for real. That's gonna happen.
I was super in tune with the content, and it was kind of fun to be texting, like, you know, like people like you and a couple of my other friends in the room about what we were hearing. You know, in the same room, but through the headphones.
Because it would have looked wild. Like, you could have had one ear off, but it would have looked kind of wild, just like while the conversation is going on and everybody just talking loud to each other. Like, oh, yeah, I agree with that, even though that went on. But, like, if you far away, you're going to look kind of crazy. So it's like people, you seen some people kind of like texting each other like, what? Or just, just kind of like making hand gestures and everything. But that's what made it so dope. It's like, this is how it's supposed to be.
Hell yeah.
It didn't feel like you had to, you know what I'm saying? Like at how they may be at the battles or something, just using that as an example, where you tell the crowd like, hey, quiet down. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just like everybody was really in tune with the conversations. And shout out to the podcasts I participated in. My own, obviously, Leading Be Legendary podcast. We had Virgil from Unsavory Antics. We had What the Fuck Did I Miss podcast. And then, like you say, you had, of course, Shop Talk and the Connected Experience. Who else? Call You Back Pod. Yeah, Views from the Thick. Shout out to Motor City Oprah and Call You Back Podcast.
Hashtag
man. Oh, man, it was hilarious.
It was hilarious. Hey, you know what fucked me up about the Charles A. Trite, though?
What's that?
I've been working there for, like, on and off for events for the last few years. And it's one of my favorite venues. I love how they open their doors to the community. They got all the theater space and stuff like that. They let the African World Festival come and hold the courtyard down. Matter of fact, that's where Walk did their shit last night, so shout out to that. But what really trips me out every time is I have no idea where the exhibits are in Charles A. Trite.
You know what? I didn't even think about that.
You ever peeped that out?
Like, just cause I mean, they got certain shit labeled.
No, bro, listen.
But
it's the shit downstairs with the ABCs of like slavery or African American history.
The ABCs of slavery.
That was a terrible way to put that. I'm sorry.
Damn.
But that's what it is. And then it's the gift shop upstairs.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's like some music trivia like in the hallway.
Damn, you're right.
But where's an exhibit?
Damn, I never looked at that like that walking in. I've been there like obviously a few times in my life, but damn, looking at it now like as from an adult perspective, it's kind of like
there's no exhibit.
That do make sense.
But you know what though, that kind of so that's one of my things with Humble Fly, right? Is that I'm really into putting performance artists on the same level or recording artists on the same level as a fine artist, and so I think that the Charles A. Trite really lends itself to the performing arts. But I wonder if they ever thought to articulate it that way. You know what I mean?
Remember, I said this when we left the event that I felt like. Remember, you was like it was just an exhibit, though. It was a display. It wasn't going to be up there forever. But with the Decipher exhibit, I was like, damn, that could have stayed up there for a while. Because technically, if you think about it, if I'm not mistaken, like you said, they got music trivia, and I'm pretty sure they got shit that's just been there for like years. You know what I'm saying? Like, why couldn't it be like that for hip hop?
Well, no,
clearly is.
The only thing that's been at the DIA for years, for real, is the Diego Rivera mural, and that's because that's literally like a piece that was a wall. It's like a mural, and so they moved it from wherever it was to the DIA as a part.
And to correct myself, because I did flow that in like I was saying that the Decipher thing was at Charles H. Wright. No, clearly I'm the DIA obviously, but now that I think about it, that would be dope if we can kind of maybe convert that over to Charles H. Wright. I don't know.
Well,
That could be possible.
I think that I would like to see it somewhere like the MoCA, right? And because and that kind of goes back to, trying to figure out exactly what gallery spaces are for, right? Because you got the Charles H. Wright, which is like really super dope for performance art and for trying to associate it with that level of, reverence, trying to put it on a fine art level. But if we're talking about Decipher traveling somewhere other than the DIA, which is, you can't even really get no bigger than that. It's a world-class institution. People come from all over the world to see the DIA. But if I was going to move the Decipher anywhere, or if I was going to remount the show, I'd try to get it at MoCA or like at Cranbrook. Because MoCA is super dope. That's where, contemporary art goes. They got a call show right now. But also just for like educational purposes, Cranbrook might be somewhere where it's super relevant, because believe it or not, a lot of black kids do go to Cranbrook and they come out, Sway was, not Clarence.
And well, I was gonna say, I was about to be stupid and be like, and Papa Doc.
Papa Doc,
his name was Clarence.
Clarence parents had a real good marriage.
And he later became, well, see, you're not a Marvel head, so that's always been a running joke that he became, Clarence, Papa Doc ended up becoming Falcon as a part of the Avengers. It's not funny to you.
It's not.
I can't even really make it land as a joke. People that watch the Marvel films will get it.
I mean, laugh at my pain,
It'll be funny later. Like maybe you watch it like, that was funny. Do the Spice Adams laugh.
that nigga meme's been going up all holiday weekend.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. With the microwave and shit, I said, that shit was hilarious, dog.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, when you were speaking about, and this just segues into the next topic about just the performing arts merging with the fine arts, as you should say, like with the galleries and everything, right?
Right.
So it ties into the whole thing with the Decipher, exhibit and everything. But Mir, we talked about this before, obviously going on air, but about approachability amongst like local artists. Like, how approachable should you be as a known, and I hate to say local artist, but you're fairly known in the city. Like, how approachable should you be? I got a way about that, you know what I'm saying? But what do you think about it?
I think that you should always be approachable, but like people should know how to approach you. And so I think when we were talking about this in pre-production, I was telling you that like one of the problems that I have is that sometimes people don't always want to approach me because they don't know that they take things as serious as I take them. And so that's a problem for me because, I'm pretty open to work with whoever, but I am really serious about what I do. And so, it works for me in the sense that it keeps the wrong people away. But, I would also like for the right people to feel like they have a chance too. I think that artists end up finding themselves in a situation where people don't take. So I think when you say accessible, what you really mean is that people don't take artists as serious as they would like. And 9 times out of 10, that's usually the artist's fault. And so, like I was saying earlier, like people feel funny about approaching me if they feel like they shit not straight. And, like it's kind of like, it's kind of sucks, but it's also a really good quality control mechanism because I ain't never presented myself as somebody who trying to do something.
Ain't nobody gonna come at you with the bullshit. They already know. Like my man seemed like he got his shit together.
Yeah, but if you're an artist and you say you rap or you do music, like if you say anything other than I'm a recording artist or I'm a musician or I'm an artist, then people don't really know how to peg you. And so you kind of like not you as an individual, but artists in general, kind of have to get over like niggas judging them, or else niggas not gonna take you serious, and people will think that you like approachable or accessible in the wrong way.
And it kind of add to my part, like not me per se, like feeling like, oh, they're gonna judge me, but I can understand it. That's what I was saying. Like it's almost like you keep it because you're not just gonna walk around like, hey, oh, look at me, I rap. You know what I'm saying?
But why not though?
Niggas, no. I'm saying especially if you at a regular gig.
But why
like
not
a regular business? Nah, nigga, you work at a post office. You're not about to just run around flinging. I mean, niggas do it.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, whenever every job I've ever had, everybody knew that I could sing, whether they thought that I actually could or not. You know what I mean? I'm the nigga singing in between calls. I'm the nigga singing mopping the floor, all kind of shit.
God.
You know what I
that
mean?
Guy?
I was that guy, and it was because it was just like, you know, one, a way to pass the time, but also a reminder to myself that, you know, I had other shit to do.
So you was the guy on the bus, always Coca-Cola.
Hell yeah, nigga, I was Tyrese'ing that shit down. Nigga, what the fuck? You thought I was?
nigga, y'all, the Neo Soul pastor speaking. Y'all better fucking recognize.
So yeah, so it always has to be like an element of almost being delusional. Because whether people thought I was serious or not, they knew to take me serious.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's real. That's real. And I always seen it from my point of view, but hearing it from your, and I don't know, maybe because you sing, maybe it's a little different too, though. Now that I think about it.
No, I mean with you, because you forget that I used to do like slam poetry and stuff too. So anything that had a performance element, I was about it at one time. I did theater, I sang, I did slam poetry. And they were all things that I was convinced that I was good at, and they were things that really affected how I moved in my, you know, in my quote unquote 9-to-5 life or my career life. And so it was always, you know, very clear for me.
And the kind of, you know, clear things up on my part though. Let's not get it. I was definitely at my job, like slinging the mixtape, like for real, like nigga, for real, like because the way it worked. Now here's my thing. Like I said, I would never go in just flaunting it. Like I knew what I did. I knew what I was good at. And it's like if you found out, then yeah, I own it. It's like yeah, I do that or whatever.
Yeah, but like you hear how you talking about it like it's almost something you should be ashamed of. I don't flaunt it or I own it. If somebody finds out,
it sounds that way, but dog, I'm telling you, it's completely different when you. I'm telling you, it's different when you rap.
Why is it different when you rap? Like
because if you sing. It's like off top, if you sing, number one, the women into it, especially if you can sing. Like you can sing, the women into it off top.
Women, hey, look, this the killing shit. Women into it, whether you can sing or not, and that's the for real part.
Yeah, listen, I be thinking about that sometimes. Like, damn, man, if I could have sang back in high school or some shit like that, like
if you could at least carry a tune, a woman will fuck with you.
Cause niggas, we look at certain niggas, dog. Like no diss, but niggas like Jacquees, you like, see, these are the niggas that was in high school that couldn't really sing, but the girls always telling, no, he can sing, girl.
Because that nigga was feeling sing. Everybody should have the confidence level of a Jacquees because Jacquees will take your song and convince everybody that he did it better than you.
For fucking up the Soul for Real theme, the Soul for Real joint.
This nigga was singing Stevie Wonder, "Knocks Me Off My Feet," and you couldn't tell him he wasn't doing his thing.
See, I didn't even know that. That's just wrong. I don't even want to go listen. I don't want to find
it. He was in the back of a van just killing that shit.
But no, like I think that might be the difference. Like, cause when we have this discussion, I think that's what it is. It's different, I believe, when you sing. Like when you sing, like you said, whether you can or not, the women gonna be into it. But let people find out you rap. Most of the time, in their mind, they probably already think you not good. Me, I know I'm dope, so it's like, go ahead, think I'm not good if you want to, and you about to be proven wrong. But it's like it's so many niggas that rap. It's not a lot of niggas that sing.
But it is a lot of niggas that sing because
no, it is,
bro. We from Detroit. Everybody can sing. And so that's all the more reason to not even really make a big deal out of it because
I riff a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody riff a little bit in Detroit, nigga. You go to the grocery store, you could create 3-part harmony across the aisles.
Wait, who's doing that? What grocery store is this?
Nigga, all of them. Nigga, you never hear nobody singing in the grocery store, and you catch the wave with them.
And I'm in Kroger a lot, like, and I've never, and niggas will tell you, like, they see me in there, like, oh, I seen it. I've never seen people just walking around Kroger singing.
Man, nigga,
I'm gonna do it.
Shit's like a musical, bro.
I don't know what grocery stores you at.
What's on our topic list? We over here bullshitting.
Yeah, we are. We really are. Hold on, let me see. But yeah, we was basically talking about that with local artist approachability. But to kind of, it's funny that we were speaking about that as far as, like, yeah, you say, like, you kind of speaking about it as if you almost ashamed of it. And I'm saying, like, no, but it's just like when you rap or whatever, but it kind of spills over into like leaning into your purpose, right? And I was reading a devotional about basically you got to find what your purpose is. You know what I'm saying? And as cliche as that may sound, it's like you really have to find it because it was basically saying like how we all are given. We all have these gifts, you know what I'm saying, that we're born with, but it's up to us to kind of like find out what they are. And we'll know most of the time if it's something that we passionate about, then that's our purpose, right?
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like a lot of people might have something that they're passionate about and they don't lean into it.
Well, one of the things about like passion and purpose, right, is that your passion may not always be your purpose. And so I learned that from being like, oh, I'm into music. Music is my passion. Writing is my passion. And all of this is my purpose. And like, you know, those things can be a part of my purpose, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what those things are. And so like those are the trades that I use to deliver my purpose, which I feel like, you know, is helping people establish their business or establish, you know, their name and their legacy. But I do it through writing and I do it through creativity. And so like, me been reading that book, The Way of the Superior Man, and it's always talking about finding your deepest purpose. And so the more I read the book, the more that I realize that my deepest purpose is to really, you know, to use my family life and my creative lifestyle to help the people around me. But that could come through a lot of different tools.
That's deep. That makes sense.
Right?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
so,
but the killing part right there about that is right because y'all know I'm the neo soul pastor. So like back in 2004,
own it.
Back in 2004, this guy named Rick Warren came out with a book called The Purpose Driven Life. And The Purpose Driven Life is a 40-day devotional that walks you through, you know, discovering your purpose. And the first thing that it tells you is that it's not about you. And so your first purpose is servanthood.
Mm-hmm.
You're serving God and you serving people. And so like that's a really good place to start from when you're talking about, you know, how you want to use these things that you've been blessed with to bless the people around you.
Deep. That's dope. So basically what you're saying is when it boils down to it, your passion and your purpose are two completely different things.
They can be because so a lot of people try to confuse passion and purpose and profession and think that all of those things have to be congruent. And what the reality is that you're just super blessed if all of those three things flow together.
Link together, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like I'm in a blessed position that my passion and my purpose are my profession because I'm a maker and I'm a creator. And so the things that I'm called to do aren't necessarily going to come through the hands of other people, but like through collaboration and understanding and teamwork. And those aren't necessarily things that a job can provide for me in a way that, you know, that my purpose is expected to be manifested. But that might not be true for everybody.
Damn, so it's like it's damn near like luck when it kind of boiled down to it.
No, it's not luck. It's awareness. And so like my life would be really different if I would have been convinced that my purpose was to be a singer. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to facilitate writing workshops. I wouldn't be able to co-produce award shows and
what you just
podcasting
did.
events.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
What I mean? And so like, you know, like all of these are things that I've done like within the last 6 months. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to book for a podcast. I wouldn't be able to plan publicity and brand management for local artists and
it be
like
happening
that.
so fast too. It's like shit just moves so slow. Like when you behind the mic in that sense, you know what I'm saying? Like that's deep. That's a deep way to look at it.
I just a lot of good stuff happened for me as an artist when I was pursuing that. I had beats from Apollo Brown. I had, you know, close relationships with Nick Speed. I was in writing sessions with D Slade and Idea. I had access to Monica Blair and El Renee. And just like all of these people who are like really at the top of their game and have gone on to do really great things. But, you know, those are some of the things that I look back on is like, if it was really meant for me to be an artist, then I would have done that because the resources were at my disposal.
Yeah. That's well shit. So you just was like, you know what, this is cool over here, me doing, you know, me singing and whatnot. However, my purpose lies over here with everything that you're doing now.
Yeah, I was in a meeting the other day, and like I'll have some really exciting news to announce soon about about a digital publication that I'm
Announce it here.
partnering with.
Announce it now. No, go ahead.
Well, it got to be finalized first. But one of the things that I was breaking down in the meeting is that, like, the teachers, one of the things that people say about them, or popular saying, is that those who can't do teach.
Teach, yeah.
And so one of the reasons that I think that it is because a person like me, I think about my teaching style and some of the things that held me back from being an artist or like a talent, in a traditional sense, was that I was really perfection and the parts that needed improvement. And so, like, I was really comfortable with being preoccupied with those parts, rather than like being focused on finishing the body of work. And so that preoccupation is what helps me, help people finish their shit.
Damn. So you kind of shit.
I mean, I've created director for you, right?
Yeah, well, for a few projects actually, yeah.
Yeah, and so those experiences,
and it's effortless too. It's like
my project.
You know what I'm saying? It'd be effortless.
It comes off effortless, but it comes from a really long history of wanting to create conceptual projects that have storylines, and like we're like really big on magnifying song structure, but also like destroying it on some print shit. And so, because that was always the aptitude that I wanted to have as an artist, was to be like a genius and an impresario. And it just so happened that like the opportunities to experience that level of genius, even though I haven't necessarily actualized it yet, I'm pretty confident that it's going to come through brand management and publicity.
For damn sure, yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because now we was just talking about the urban podcast event. Like one of the topics we spoke about, it was just the pros and cons of like streaming. Before the show, I remember you telling me like I hadn't even heard this news, but you had said something about like Jay-Z, he possibly gonna be selling Tidal or whatever. Like, go into that because I'm not too familiar with like what's going on. But what's your take on that?
I mean, I don't know that Jay-Z is going to be selling Tidal, but I'm a fan of a lot of the moves that he made.
Mm-hmm.
And so last week, he put some of his music back onto the other streaming platforms.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that stood out to me because it wasn't all of the music, and most of it was released to Apple Music. I don't know that Spotify got anything.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But if you remember a few months ago, Spotify and Amazon were like suing to not change the songwriter royalty payout. Right. And Tidal and Apple Music were the only ones who were like solid with the artist.
Right.
And so it's really telling that the main two streaming companies that have been, feuding with each other for the last few years as far as directly, because we know that Spotify got all the labels in bed with them, and Apple and Tidal are disruptors, right? And so they're direct competition in a stricter sense than like Spotify versus the rest of them. But for them to be on the same side of history as far as songwriter royalties and how they pay out, that could mean that it's some business for them to do with each other down the line, right?
Right, exactly.
And so we look at stuff like Apple closing down the iTunes store, and Jay-Z also like so another thing that happened last week, right, was the staff at Roc Nation was changed up, and I believe maybe some things were changed at Tidal, and so it gives off the appearance that Jay-Z may want to sell Tidal.
Right.
Which I've been speculating he's gonna do,
and I can see that happening.
Most of the content is sponsored by Sprint and Boost, because that's where a lot of those free and complimentary memberships come from.
I wonder why that shit is doing that. Now I'm hearing the echo you was talking about. I'm like, why is it doing that?
I mean, it's
I'm
all right.
trying to
We'll get
ignore
around it.
But I'm like, I'm gonna just let him just go ahead and cook. That shit was weird as fuck to me. I don't know if they would be able to hear it, but it was just so weird. I'm like, why is it doing that? This nigga is a cyborg.
It's weird as fuck. But just to kind of like wrap up the Jay-Z point, right? Like, I think what's gonna happen is either he's gonna sell Tidal to a big telecommunications company, or he's gonna like merge with somebody and allow Tidal to be acquired while he still sits on like an executive board, which I can see happening with Sprint, because that's the main mobile communication company that they've been in business with. Or I could see them and Sprint like putting money into a new venture that specializes in mobile entertainment content that competes with like Netflix and Apple Music. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think that Roc Nation and Tidal are going to streamline their services to create a new entity.
That shit'd be wild, man. It's streaming. It's a streaming war going on, man.
I mean, it's a streaming war, but it's bigger than streaming, because we all know that streaming is about ownership, and the only thing that streaming represents as far as ownership is intellectual property.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The license or the right to have access to something.
You know that shit we was talking about with data, but that's another story. You know,
I mean, not just data. I mean, because everything is data or datum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the conversation that we're having right now is technically data that's going to be stored onto an Anchor server that's going to be accessible to Anchor and their investors or whoever has access to that outside of the organization or in conjunction with it. So it's not just about data. It's not just about ownership of the song itself, but being able to exercise the right to make it as profitable, to its maximum capacity.
And remember how we was talking about before with, artists really pushing for getting so many streams and so many, as far as sales and everything. But it was like, at the end of the day, you need to be trying to build that, I don't want to say clientele, but that database of like people that's rocking with your shit, because that data is worth more, you know what I'm saying, than the actual.
I mean, data is worth a lot, but data is more than an email. You know what I mean? Because people get over on like passing off a junk email all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And everybody said they rock with Tidal or Apple Music or Spotify. But everybody is really getting over on just switching out these emails when these free trials is over. And so what does that tell you? They using the data for something other than what it actually represents. Yeah. They're using it to inflate and to make themselves appeasing to investors.
Man, I done seen mad emails that came through I would say like Bandcamp. Like if you if they download your music or whatever, you'll get like the email that's letting you know somebody downloaded or whatever or purchased the music. You look at the email like
please don't email me at gmail.com.
It's like, man, that is not an email that you use. Like, get out of here, fam. Like, come on.
Anytime somebody pass off their iCloud email, like that's their junk email.
Yeah, it's like nobody really actually used their iCloud like that for sure. Like that's
and so not at all. Streaming is a marketing avenue, just like social media is. And so what artists need to orient themselves around is really building their own infrastructure. Mm-hmm. And so it used to be physical product, but now it's merchandise and apparel.
Yep.
And so like you could use social media and you could use streaming platforms to market that content and the merchandise associated with it. But other than that, it's a super passive, very small stream of income until you get it performing, at an expected level.
Man, I'm telling you, man, this is shit that I could talk about for like days, man, because it's so much like to it, and that's why it'd be hard for me to write, because I always be thinking about the deeper end of shit. Like, man, I don't feel like creating right now. I'm trying to figure this shit out.
But that'd be the thing, right? Like everybody everybody want to be a mogul, and that's not everybody's shit.
It's
Somebody
not.
need to, right? If we going back to like purpose and passion and shit, like just because Diddy did some shit, don't mean that you got to do it.
Man, but that's why I tell people though, like, man, I told you, Mira, I was like, man, with Leading Me Legendary, like, it's not set out to be a label, like, at all. It's funny because it's a flip, it's a play on that.
Well, I disagree with that.
Because no, we can rip on it for a minute, but it's because, like I say, man, I'm not the guy. It's called Lead and Be Legendary. Like that boss mentality. Oh, I'm a boss. Like all that shit. That's not me, man. Because like I'm not the guy that's about to bark out orders and none of that stuff. It's like I'm here to like take.
But that's not what being a boss is.
No,
like, that's what I be saying. Like, why wouldn't you just adapt that? Like, you have a label that's called Lead and Be Legendary, but then you say you're not a leader.
No. You missing what I'm saying. You see, you ain't let me complete what I was saying. You know, it take me a minute to flesh it out sometimes.
You gotta hurry up.
But niggas sleepy. Like I'm sleepy.
Holiday, nigga. I've been drinking all day.
It's the holiday. Like my thoughts ain't really. I ain't trying to process it. But no, like I wouldn't want to. Like if it's small boutique, yeah. But I don't have the vision of just like running some bad boy, you know what I'm saying, or just shit like that, because that mean now I'm responsible for other people. And
but this is the thing though, Bad Boy. How many artists does Bad Boy have?
Shit, what they have?
Like at a time,
yeah, a lot.
Not over the course of the history, but at a time.
Lot at a time.
No, they didn't.
Why
because
not?
You know why? Lil' Kim was never officially signed to Bad Boy. I don't think that Faith Evans was. I think it might have been like a production, vanity type of thing. Yeah. But her deal was with somebody else. And so Puffy was Puffy took a small business and made it big as fuck. He made it larger than life. Because when you think about it, the only acts that he had signed was Biggie, Craig Mack, Junior Mafia, and that was the first generation of Bad Boy, right?
I don't even know if Junior Mafia was signed. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody can correct us on that. But
I think Junior Mafia honestly might have been signed directly to Atlantic, and Bad Boy was just the production entity that handled the administration. Yeah.
It go deep, man. I don't know. I don't like, but who's to say like how I may feel within a year or hell months. But I just know in my head, I say, that whole label infrastructure, man, like, because now you don't even.
Ain't no such thing as a label. I mean, it ain't no such thing as a label, but then they also being reborn because everybody's following the Roc Nation model where they want to add, management that has, appendages as services that labels would normally provide. And so, honestly, and in full transparency, that's the exact model for Humble Fly, but with the explicit intention of creating partnerships and autonomy for the artists that we partner with.
See, what does Leading Me Legendary need to be a label for? We got Humble Fly.
I mean, but you
trying to get me to start some shit so you can rival me. I see what this is. Like,
you always want your friends to be a competition because we know that's the dope shit too. Each other to win.
Exactly, that's the dope shit about it though. Like that's really the dope shit. It's not no Suge Knight at the Source Awards. You know what I'm saying?
No, man. So no, I got a lot of love for people who do the same thing that I do, and or maybe like super similar things. So like we are culture creators, fashion, music, culture, One Shot Radio. You know what I mean? Like a Filthy Rockwell and the Filthy Americans movement, man. Like everybody, it's a really dope time to be a creative in Detroit because everybody's on the same wavelength and everybody's about doing their part to help the greater whole.
Exactly. That's some real shit.
Yeah.
And on that note, www. I be feel like I'm adding an extra W. LeadingBeLegendary.net. I be really feeling like did I say 4 W's? But LeadingBeLegendary.net, all things label. Nametag Alexander.com. Go stream and download the single, and either or, whichever, how y'all is. I don't want to download. I don't got space on my phone. Whatever, stream it. Nametag Alexander.com. Work, win, repeat. Shout out to Junie. Shout out to Black Beethoven. Again, Urban Podcast Month, successful event. Shout out to Shop Talk Podcast and the Connected Experience and Humble Fly. Tell them where they can find you at, Dean.
So I'm Art.Dealer.Dean, and so I manage the Humble Fly account on Instagram. You can find me at HUMBLEFLEI. I spell that shit like the French.
Why'd you spell it like Usher on the US?
This my holiday vibe, man. Memorial Day type shit. But also, I've been kind of doing my thing on Twitter lately. So that's just Art.Dealer.Dean,
definitely.
all one word.
Definitely.
You know, haggling everybody until I get my followers up. So
I got to get on there more, though, because I be seeing you on there. I said, I got to get on here more, man, because he be on here just going like, oh, somebody responding to this man.
Nigga, I was definitely talking to myself.
Will respond to him, because I see him, like, responding to shit that Will be saying. Shout out to Will Ketchum. Like, Will just don't be staying in the back. I'm like, all right.
Will is not trying to talk to one like that. She like, you know, look, bro.
Like, who is this, man? I'm like, man, respond. I'm just retweeted, like, respond to him.
But Will knows who I am, but, you know, I get it.
Twitter is something else, man. Hey, man, we feel it's the holiday, man. On that note, we out.
Peace.
Yeah. The champ is here, I crossed the line onto the other side of fear. Yeah, I'm shining bright, my inner guided light is ultraviolet, could cause blinded sight. Behind the mic, I am like Iron Mike from the free throw line, flying mic like a private flight, my head above the clouds. If you ain't about growth, you would say I dumbed it down. Bars for bullets, not one dummy round, nah. Show you how to do this, spit a haiku for Lil Ryu Hadoukens. Language of confidence, I speak it fluent. Can't be no teacher if you weren't no student. You in the bleachers while we out here shooting. Who us, true us, work from the sun up to dust. Tag, that champ life, yeah. Gon' show you what a champ like. Damn right, we gon' shine on. Bet you ain't gon' block a champ's light, nah. That champ life, yeah. Gon' show you what a champ like. Damn right, we gon' shine on. Bet you ain't gon' block a champ's light. That's why we gon' work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat. Say we gon' work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat.
You feel me? You feel it or not? A walk in the forest is more than important when human and nature collide. Pardon me hoping, but pardon me open when nothing was working and Junie was choking and I wasn't feeling the wave of the motion. When darker was better, the moment was golden, the body was focused, the secret unfolded. I stepped up, never stepped out, never spoke up, but still left out. I was under sea when I finally got to swim out. I was in between, hidden in between. Everything you seen was a lie. I would never let die, but the world is a leech and they love when I bleed. I would never leave, I would never need nothing from you. I would never need much time to recoup.
That champ life, yeah. Gon' show you what a champ like. Damn right, we gon' shine on. Bet you ain't gon' block a champ's light, nah. That champ life, yeah. Gon' show you what a champ like. Damn right, we gon' shine on. Bet you ain't gon' block a champ's light. That's why we gon' work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat. Say we gon' work, win, repeat again. Work, win, repeat again. Work,